the inner realms. Access infinite possibilities, infinite mastery, and infinite love. Mind-expanding, heart-opening conversations with some of the greatest spiritual teachers, luminaries, and healers of today's world. Usher in New Earth by living in your sacred heart. Quantum Conversations is brought to you by acoustichealth.com, home of music from the universe, online healing retreats, and this program. Claim your free registration to daily shows at acoustichealth.com. acoustichealth.com, your portal to the inner realms. Our program starts shortly. Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by acoustichealth.com. I'm Galey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on this quantum conversation. This is all about your connection to your higher self. And as we journey in today's episode, we are talking about this beautiful mastery that we are stepping into. This is mastery of walking in balance and harmony and rising above to great deep wisdom within us in every moment, shining our love and our light, and using our words in, I want to say diplomatic ways that understand all viewpoints, but we all point towards our goal of new earth and love-generated experiences. So I thank you all for joining us today. We are clearing out a lot of clutter in our physical body. And my guest today is a pet intuitive, but what is so fascinating is that she's here to explain how our pets connect us to other realms, how they can literally assist us in clearing the luggage that we carry, otherwise known as baggage of past experiences and trauma, so that we can be free to connect with our star family and, of course, our higher self. That is the beautiful inner wisdom that we all have access to. So it is with my pleasure to introduce to you Denise Mange. She is a pet intuitive. She'll be doing readings for our audience today on what realms your pets want you to tap into. But first, we are going to welcome her to our community, introducing her to all of you. Denise, welcome. Thank you for being here on Quantum Conversations.
Thank you so much for having me, and I've been such a fan of your podcast, and I've learned so much over the years. So thank you for all the work you do and for having me on as a guest. I'm very excited.
We are excited too. This is a fascinating topic, and I want to honor your work too, and thank you for really making this bridge in spirituality with our pets. So many of us know this love of our pets, that they assist us, and wow, they're just beautiful. So we're going to talk all about that. And we're going to talk about how you got started in this. Here it was. You did come from, the ad world on Madison Avenue. And that is a deep, deep shift. And I just want to honor you for following your heart there and working with the animals. We're going to hear that story. First, though, you've got an interesting anecdote about the times that we're in, and I want to offer you that beautiful space to share that.
Yeah, and so I love that you talked about, how we're clearing out our energetic clutter, because that's really what our animal companions are here helping us do. And sometimes they help us do it quite literally. So, I'm going to cut back to January of 2019. It might seem like forever ago. But January 2019, if anyone recalls, and if anybody is a TV buff like I am, you'll remember that Marie Kondo, that whole movement of clearing out your clutter, clearing through your closet, sparking joy. So lo and behold, January 2019, I'm watching that show. And so, I'm doing something around the house, and it turns out, in retrospect, my animals were really preparing me in January of 2019 for more information and activations, all which have kind of came through as a culmination of this Pets as Portals course, which we'll be talking about more later. But, as busy bee, walking around my house, and as I would pass my bookshelf, they kept appearing to me right at my bookshelf at the first shelf. And that's where I had a series of books on that bottom shelf that I'd collected since high school and brought, ever since my times in Brazil. I brought them to college, then to my first apartment, and, everywhere I moved since. And so after a few times of them appearing there, and, after, of course, binge watching that Marie Kondo show, I realized that it was time to look at whether, this book still sparked joy and whether I wanted to hold on to all of them. So I go to the shelf, and, the first book I see is Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. And I personally love Hemingway's writing. And, that is one of those books that I would reread over and over, every so often. And so, I'm holding it in my hands, and I realize that the animals are just staring at me. And, I know what they want me to do. They want me to let go of the book, right? So the thing is, I'm really stubborn, and I also come from a family of lawyers. So I launch into defensive mode, and I'm making arguments on why it's a classic, why I should keep it. And, it culminates in a very eloquent, oh my goodness, it was fighting hard. And it culminates in a very eloquent, have you even read Hemingway? As I roll my eyes. And so, the animals are sitting there very, very calmly, and they're like, no, but we've felt Hemingway. And I'm like, oh, that's a fair comment, as it lands. Because if anybody knows that book, The Sun Also Rises, it's all about longing, kind of lack of connection, unattainable happiness. So fine, I get it. I concede, and I say, all right, I'll get rid of this book. I hear what you're saying. And so, I'm walking around and I look, and they're still there at that bottom shelf of my bookshelf, just like staring at me. And so I'm like, oh, now what? And so I look at the bookshelf, and, I start reading the titles in their order. And it's, Tim O'Brien's The Things They Carried, which is all about kind of the PTSD and Vietnam vets. It's a book about the Trail of Tears called And the Earth Shall Weep. And it's followed by a biography of, Kurt Cobain called Heavier Than Heaven. And, it's bookended by a biography on the band Pearl Jam called 5 Against 1. And so I read those, and they're just looking at me. And I got it, right? Those were the vibrations that I was literally and physically carrying with me through different phases of my life and from home to home. So, I say, fine, but, I want to keep the books on the dance, to which they very patiently ask. They're like, well, did you read those books? I'm like, yeah. And they say, did you learn and understand what you needed to from those books? I said, yeah, so they paused, and I understood, I got it. So at that point, I was like, all right, it's okay to let those books go and make space for more lightness in my life. And so, as you talked about clearing out energetic clutter, this is such a perfect story demonstrating how our animal companions and guides really help us lighten our energetic load, both in literal and intangible ways, right? Because they help us sort through our energetic clutter through their behavior. They help us revisit old stories and beliefs. And they help us decide whether we want to keep those old stories and patterns in our metaphoric library, or if we want to release them and make room to open up for more space and possibilities. Because, we can't have it both ways. We can't hold on to our baggage and our clutter and still be carefree and have space to bring in the new. So when I agreed to release after 20-something years, those books that I held so near and dear and I thought were so important to me, that's when tremendous insights came in, tremendous downloads, and things that really propelled me to a new understanding in my spiritual kind of growth and practice. And I always pay attention to what's going on with pop culture, because at that point, that was where Marie Kondo and the whole, cleaning out your clutter was really big in pop culture. And there were a lot of shifts in January of 2019 that happened and thereafter. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold,
it was the start.
Right? And so lo and behold, we're in another point in pop culture where, again, anyone else is a TV buff, you can't, go anywhere without seeing that whole series by Home Edit called Get Organized, which is, again, about sorting, clearing, reorganizing, letting go of things. So we're really in a point that we're clearing out clutter, we're doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for the collective, and we're making choices about what we get to keep. So I feel like this is another, where things come full circle, and as a collective and as individuals, we're really we're being asked to create big space so that we can bring in new, big ideas, philosophies, inspiration, practices, and realities.
Wow. Yes. Okay. So happy clearing, everyone. And it really is on a physical level. I want to share a little of my own experience in that, because it did. I can say once I cleared an emotional trigger, and we're going to talk about this too, because this is really what it's all about. I traced an emotional trigger. Actually, no, that's a different story. I was feeling sadness and grief, and I allowed that to come forward, and then it didn't last long. Maybe it was about, maybe 10 seconds, right? I mean, it really wasn't that long. And then I was inspired. I looked up and over at a pile of books, like you said, and it was very interesting because I just knew I needed to shift something about that, or go into it and clear out that little pile of clutter. And as I did, the synchronicities that unfolded were remarkable. And that's what you're talking about. So see, there was that little bit of grief that if I could have held on to it, instead of allowing it 10 seconds of space, then it would have kept me from even looking at that stack of books to shift around, to pay attention to synchronicity. So this is what we're talking about. This is a subtle awareness, and it's something that you bring in the work that you do as a pet intuitive. And so now we're going to talk about, how you came into being aware of these abilities with pets, and how we can all do this to not only clear our clutter, but to really journey to these other realms with our star family and our galactics. It's very, very interesting. So here you go, starting on Madison Avenue. What was that like for you what was that journey to leave that deep, I want to say a trench, because that's a real, I was in journalism, right? Radio and television news. So to leave that, it was, I don't know, it's not always so easy. Can you share that story?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because growing up, like probably many of the folks listening right now, I've always loved animals, felt a tremendous connection with animals. But what might be unique about me is I actually never had a pet growing up. We weren't allowed to have a dog, a cat, any traditional pet. So I used to just sneak away and be in go in a grassy area and find roly-polies or caterpillars. So that's how I started my connection with animals, was, not so much tapping into traditional pets, but just trying to connect with anything that was living out there that I considered a little, creature friend. And so, I grew up and I lived in New York City, worked in advertising for over a decade. And in retrospect, it actually was the perfect job in preparing for the work I do now, because advertising is all about observation, right? You have to observe and really intuit people's motivations, what they want, even things that they can't quite verbalize. It's all about observing trends and what people really, really want and are trying to tap into. After 10 years, just completely got burnt out and decided it was time to leave. And I lived in New York City at the time, and I always loved animals. So I said, if I'm going to, leave advertising, what would be my dream job? And I was like, okay, opening a doggy daycare. And since I never had a pet growing up, I figured if I'm going to open a doggy daycare, I need to learn about, dog behavior, because I never had a dog at that point. And so I went through some traditional dog obedience courses, all, centered around positive reinforcement training. And part of the certification was going in with people's homes and working with them and their pets and helping them train their animal companions. And I decided at that point that I really loved the relationship between pets and humans. So, I scrapped the doggy daycare idea, went all in on the dog trainer. And so as I was doing these consultations with people, I started kind of tapping in more deeply, just naturally as an intuitive and an empath, into what was going on energetically. So I'd walk into people's homes and I'd just know things about their relationship, their dynamic, what was going on. And so I started observing patterns, which I was really good at doing, ever since I was trained in advertising. I started observing trends in colors, in what kinds of people were having similar issues. So I started noticing, for example, that, a lot of times when I go into work with dogs with on-leash reactivity, who are, a bit aggressive on leash and barking on leash, the human in the dynamic, was a bit ungrounded, or maybe they didn't feel secure in their relationship. Maybe they were in between jobs. They didn't have the footing that they'd hoped that they would have. So I started noticing these themes, and then I started realizing that these are universal themes associated with people's chakras, because in high school I was certified in Reiki, so I was very familiar with chakras as an energetic cheat sheet. So lo and behold, speaking of portals, on a fall equinox, I kind of laid down, couldn't get up for 3 days. On the third day, I woke up, and I was downloaded by who I realized later to be the Pleiadians, a whole roadmap to linking up our pet's behavior with the energetic reason behind it, the universal themes that were going on in the humans. So that now it becomes a jumping off point, that if we see our pet, reactive on leash, or with separation anxiety or guest reactivity or having accidents, we can go back and map that to a chakra and the themes associated with it. Because then not only do we use traditional training to solve the issue, but we also look at the energy behind the situation. We're able to overlay that. And in that way, our animal companions are helping us clear out our energetic clutter, whether it's issues of not feeling grounded, maybe it's martyrdom issues, maybe it's we're not setting up proper energetic boundaries. Their attitudes and behavior reflecting this back to us so that we can sort through it. And then when we move past our, energetic patterns, then our pets can also move past their behavioral aspects as well. So we create shifts for everyone and we all vibe higher. I like to think of it as self-help for pet's sake. And in clearing this energetic clutter and lightening our baggage, that's what allows us to then go deeper and journey with our pets to these amazing realms where we get to let go of the old and then call in multidimensional aspects of ourselves. Things that we're creating space to welcome in, our magic, our gifts, our intuition, our knowing. So it all, the way that it progressed is quite interesting. It started with, let's leave advertising, then maybe we'll do dog training. And then, oh, by the way, you can tap into the animals and what they're trying to say. Oh, and by the way, animals and their behaviors linked to the energy. Let's help everyone in this training session. So it's kind of neat how our pets act as that access point to open us up to bigger things.
Wow. Yes. Beautiful. I'm looking at something in my life with my pet. And by the way, my cat was right on my lap here as you were speaking.
Oh.
Isn't it beautiful? All right. So I want to go to what you said there. Can you share more about how our animals reflect back to us? We know that animals will take on certain illnesses for us, right? Is that, what do you think about that? They don't need to do that anymore, but that is a deep question. So they reflect back to us what we need to let go of. And then it's a matter of being aware of that. how would you help someone become aware?
Well, I like to describe that relationship because a lot of times when pet parents make that leap and they're like, oh my gosh, so yeah, that makes sense. My thoughts, energies, attitudes, worldviews is affecting my animal companion. Oh my gosh, I'm causing them to suffer. I'm causing them to take on my illness. The first thing I say there is no, we're not causing anything to our animal companions. You know, we have these soul contracts, these sacred contracts with our animal companions that we've decided before we've even come together. You know, just like certain humans come into our lives for certain chapters, our animal companions do the same, and we learn lessons alongside each other. I like to equate it to a classroom, right? If we're in the same classroom, we're taking the same course, we're reading the same book, rather than doing separate book reports, let's do a group project, right? So there's nothing that we're doing that's causing pain to our animal companion, that's causing them to be one way or another. They have similar lessons as we do on their path to ascension and personal growth and development. We're just doing it alongside each other. We have a buddy. So the first thing I want to do is, you know, anyone who's feeling guilt, please don't feel guilt. It's nothing we're causing to them. It's just we're going through this lesson together. And then again, you know, I love this system that the Pleiadians downloaded where I link specific pet behaviors. So if your dog is having on-leash reactivity, I link that to themes of the first chakra of grounding, security, maybe a disconnection from, you know, feeling disconnected from the earth or your mother figure, kind of falling into that victimhood. If your animal companion is displaying separation anxiety, I've linked that back to themes in the human of the second chakra. So balancing my needs versus other people's needs, the balance of the masculine and feminine, issues of creativity. If your animal companion is barking at you or demanding attention or jumping or nipping, that I tended to see link back to the third chakra and those themes of, are you stepping into your power? Are you claiming your magic? Are you putting projects out, or are you self-sabotaging because you're a perfectionist? And so it goes. With, you know, so it's really neat to have that starting point, and then you can go to limiting beliefs associated with each chakra and be like, yeah, that one resonates, this one maybe not so much. So I created a whole signature course on that called Healing with Chakras, which is just tremendous. There's really nothing like they're out there.
Yes. Okay. Very fascinating. I love that you were downloaded by the Pleiadians, this whole information. And again, your course, Pets as Portals, your course will show how you can really learn more about this. Can you go ahead and offer the rest of the chakras and what that means? Because, wow, we're each looking at our animals. And so for example, if your dog is getting excited, right, it's not just at dinner time. He's not just hungry, or she's not just hungry, but that could be, wow, are you stepping into your power? Yeah. And if your pet has guest reactivity, right, that's matters of the fourth chakra, and setting your loving boundaries. You know, are you letting people into your energy and your space that you shouldn't? Because if we're not careful about that, then, you know, our animal companions set up those boundaries for us. If your animal companion is barking or has issues with leadership, you know, if you're not sure who's in charge of who's leading who, that tends to be around the fifth chakra in amplifying our voice and speaking our truth. If we see accidents are linked to the third eye and the sixth chakra, and I love that one because it's all about illusion versus reality. And so it's, you know, where are we eluding ourselves? Where do we not want to see people, situations for what it was? And also it has to do with parenthood. So as we step into being parents to our animal companions, we get to revisit and put ourselves into our parents' shoes and shapeshift a bit and see what it's like to be a parent. We know what it was like to be a child. You know, a lot of us have very specific memories about that, but now we're revisiting that childlike experience through the role of being a parent. And then with the seventh chakra for humans, whenever we have pets who have gone missing, are sick, or transitioned, that's what I've linked to the seventh chakra, which is having faith in moments of crisis and seeing the big picture. Because there's nothing that will test us in our beliefs and what we're committing to other than a catalyst.
something really big happening like that. So through those behaviors, our animal companions are kind of linking back and giving us opportunity to revisit. And, just like we're sorting through, a suitcase once we've gone on a journey, you look at, you sniff it, give it a good sniff. And if it's ready to be folded up and put back in the drawer, we can put that belief or that, viewpoint of the world back in our energetic drawer. If it needs to be released or replaced, we can do that as well. So it's really about us revisiting and reaffirming or replacing things through their help.
Wow, this is very interesting, and we can each look back at probably episodes with pets that we've had in our life and the situation and see what they were showing us, right? Speaking our truth or creating those boundaries. I did have a dog who was really quite ferocious with his barking, but he was very sweet. And right at the time, I'm remembering there was a boundary issue in that time period. So this is how the behaviors of our pets in the 3D reality let us lighten that vibration so that we can travel deeper into each realm. Can you explain how we unravel from that so we can be lighter in vibration?
Yeah, so as we choose to vibrate higher, right? So as we let go of dense energy, we're vibrating higher. We're able to access more high vibrational energy and kind of anchor it into our bodies. Because not only are animals mirroring back energetic patterns so we can revisit them and release them, our animal companions are also anchoring in high vibrations. That's why we always feel so joyful when we're with them, and it's that pure, unconditional love. Those are those higher vibrations. They're physically anchoring into our space so that we can familiarize and be acclimated to them, so that when we are able to go these higher vibrational journeys, our bodies are already a little bit used to that vibration. So, clearing out packing light and clearing out energetic clutter, that's step one. Step two, in order to access these higher realms, is really getting back in touch with our bodies. Because a lot of times, those limiting beliefs that we're releasing and letting go of, they've probably been associated and tied back to how we feel about being in our physical body. Maybe we didn't feel safe in them. Maybe we didn't like certain aspects of our physicality. So when we clear out that energetic clutter, we're able to connect more deeply with our body. And that allows us to go on these journeys, because as much as from a spiritual standpoint, we like to go up and out. You say it best in the intro to the show, we need to journey back to the inner realms. When we talk about journeying to realms are not outside of us. We're going deeper into our own knowing, our wisdom. We hold multiverses and wisdom within us. So whenever we go on these journeys with our pets, we're going actually inside of ourselves. So we need our bodies. Our bodies are also critical during journeying, because they also help us tap into the wisdom and frequencies at a cellular level. Odds are when we visit these realms, our conscious mind can't hold on to all the information. It's too high vibrational. There's too much going on. So our bodies at the cellular level, much like a memory stick or, back in the day, a floppy disk, can save that information and then release it over time as our conscious mind is ready to accept the knowledge. So our body is kind of the vehicle that we use to journey to these realms. It's also critical because it keeps us within our energy, so that if we are in a realm that's very high vibrational, we still have a little bit of that climate control around ourselves. Our body is preserving our energy so that we can spend more time in those realms. And then, during the journey, our pets act as access points, right? Our love for them, our pure high vibrational interactions with them, that acts as the fuel to get us to those higher vibrational realms. And then once we're there, we get to kind of enjoy. Again, not to, I'm a movie buff. I love TV, so I'm going to go there with a reference. If we were to think of that movie, Back to the Future, our body is the DeLorean, right? The portal codes that we use, that we'll talk about a little bit more, they are the equivalent to the year or the destination that we type into the DeLorean's dashboard. And our pets would be the plutonium that fuel the DeLorean to make time travel possible. And so once we're at the destination or realm, then we're able to go and meet another version of ourselves, whether it's past versions, present, alternative timelines version of ourselves, galactic versions of ourselves. We get to interact with them, understand the motivation, the reasoning, the wisdom, and then we get to come home to the current reality with a deeper understanding that shifts everything for us. We might even, keeping in with the theme of that movie, bring back a sports almanac with some answers to help us navigate the next few years. But that's really what the process of journeying is. It's packing light, using our body as a vehicle, our pets as access codes, imbuing portal codes with, the energy of the realm so it can become a quick access point for us if we ever want to go back and revisit any of the knowledge from that. And then we get to explore and bring back some really cool souvenirs.
Yes, okay. Wow. Talk about portal codes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So portal codes are something that they're so amazing because just as a souvenir from a trip can instantly transport you back to a vacation that you once took, portal codes become energetic shortcuts to particular realms, frequencies, and emotions, right? So because portal codes help us tap into specific vibration of a realm, it kind of creates a Rolodex of cosmic addresses for us. And each realm holds geometric codes which activate within your DNA on a cellular level, and they really allow you to vibrate at that higher frequency. So, the portal codes that have been given to me for each realm are very simple. When we say portal codes or Stargate or, whatever, people have these really complicated mechanisms in mind. And what the animals have brought forth as the portal codes for each realm are very simple geometric shapes. Circles, triangles, squares, infinity symbols. And what's really fascinating about that is if we think back to our childhood, right, as children, some of the first things that we start identifying are shapes and numbers. And for me, those are some of the most powerful portal codes we can use to access higher dimensions, higher realms, deeper information and insight and intuition. So it's been a really kind of neat way to assign energetic shorthand to each of the realms that we explore in this course.
Wow. Yes. Okay. So that is really very interesting that it's a shortcut to those vibrations in those realms that we can instantly feel that. So that's what we were talking about when we move in mastery, in balance and harmony and inner wisdom. So then what's it like then for you or people who journey with their animals? What has that been like?
So it's been really neat because the journey itself, the way that we do it, I'm a very pragmatic spiritualist, I like to call it. I like to give our minds and our ego something to hold on to, and then we free ourselves up in order to really kind of go deep on the journeys. So with each of the modules where we visit these realms, we start off with a reminder of, the process of journeying, and then we learn about each realm we're going to visit. So, for example, the first module we go to the Earth realm. And so what my team has given to me is not only the realm, they also give us, for our humanity and our humanness, an energetic kind of reference point on Earth. So where we go voyage to the first, the Earth realm, on Earth, we're going to use as an energetic reference point the red rocks of Arizona and Utah and Monument Valley. And so that way we kind of know, some of us might have even visited it, but we can use those pictures, those colors. It helps give our senses something to hold on to. And then we go into we talk about the portal code, we talk about the realm, we have an animal who joins us. So if you don't have a pet or if your pet is transitioned, we have an animal sponsor in each of the realms that will join us. And then we do I think it's usually a 20 to 25 minute journey to the realm. We go, I walk you through it, you explore. There's music kind of guiding you along. And then at the end, we do a mantra that's been given for each realm that we repeat 108 times. And so that really helps us anchor into our bodies the wisdom, the learnings from each realm. And it's been so neat because with each realm, people go there without much expectation. And I've had people come back with light language, with insights about who their team is, learning about new aspects of themselves, new gifts. They see themselves doing a healing that they didn't know they could do. So it's really this opportunity to retrieve aspects of yourself. We're not going there to, learn things that we don't hold within. We're really tapping into new gifts, new knowing, new wisdom, new guidance, new intuition that's available to us.
Yes, new knowing, new gifts, new information, the inner wisdom. Wow, I love that. All right, so you're talking about your course. For those listening, you can click on the special offer button and you can see the 4 journeys in that course and see what is available. So, Denise, let's talk a little bit about these other realms. These are beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the earth realm. Can you talk about these others?
Yeah, so the fire realm is one of my favorites too. It's amazing because it helps us tap into the spark of our creativity and creating in joy. A lot of times, especially as we we're feeling the calling to step out more with our gifts, with our services, or just kind of shining our lights more brightly, we tend to be a little self-critical. Maybe we're perfectionists. Maybe we're not sure we'll be well received. So the fire realm works with the energy of scenics, and also the reference point on Earth is Rio de Janeiro, which for me is wonderful because I'm Brazilian. So Rio and Carnival. So we do this joyful journey to the fire realm using Carnival and the joy and the creativity and the colors and the fire of Rio as this access point. So that one's fantastic. One that I know you're going to love is the water realm. Because the water realm is our ambassador animals are the cosmic dolphins and whales, which I know have been such a theme, for this year, and especially with your audience, tapping into that cosmic dolphin and whale energy. And even though it's called the water realm, what they brought through was that the water and the star realm are one and the same. And the place that they brought in as the energetic resonance is one that's not physically here, but so many of us are so familiar with that it's almost palpable. And that's Atlantis. So they teach us about Atlantis, but they teach about it in terms of Merlantis and Skylantis. And how, that knowledge of the quote-unquote fall of Atlantis, they kind of explain that it actually was a separation between Mer and Sky in order to vibrate at a higher frequency. So there was no fall or destruction, it just expanded. And so much like a rubber band, if you think of it being, a rubber band, when you pull it taut and you pluck it, the vibration's higher. That's what they're showing. Part of Atlantis kind of went down into the Mer subterranean level, and another part went up into a higher dimension, so that there could be a unified higher frequency. So you get to choose if you want to deal and go down into Merlantis and connect with your mermaid family, or if you want to go into Skylantis and connect with galactic aspects of yourself, or if, like a dolphin, you want to jump and weave through both. So that one's a really fun one. And then the sky realm really anchors in diamond light. And as we, all these realms build on each other, right? The first realm is about tapping more into ourselves and our wisdom. The second realm with the fire realm is about our creativity and our output. The water realm is going to be about our connection with, galactic consciousness in whatever form it takes for you. And then this is about anchoring in the diamond light in the sky realm. And it's about being able to have that perspective of the big picture, without losing sight of the details happening on land. So Eagle is our animal sponsor. And to me, the coolest part about the sky realm is that, this whole course was downloaded to me after I created that space by clearing out energetic clutter and then being called to go visit Antelope, and Bryce Canyon. And so my travel companion, did this whole itinerary, and part of what we visited was Horseshoe Bend. And so the energetic resonance for that fourth, the sky realm, is actually Horseshoe Bend. And what's so fascinating about that is that those interested in their star families, I didn't know this until afterward, but Horseshoe Bend runs along what's known as the 37th parallel, which is a ley line known for America's UFO highway. It's also part of the Earth grid that was being reactivated to anchor in a lot more change toward a new Earth. It was part of what Dr. J.J. Hurtak explained as being part of the Return of the Dove map, which some of you guys might remember from April 2019, where there was this whole prediction that according to, Hurtak's book, The Keys of Enoch, it was all about the next steps of evolution and connecting us back to our universal family. And so part of this ascension process is that humans will remember their ability to work with mental pictures, sacred language, consciousness, and expansion through actual transformation taking place in the land. And so that whole map of the dove was right over this region, and I was there right when the Return of the Dove was happening. And that's when this course was downloaded. So the synchronicities with our star families and the energy and our own evolution, collectively is really cool, and it's anchored into this course.
Yes, all right, that is so beautiful. And so it is going and journeying to these realms. So for those, do we use our animals with this? Do they come in and sit with us, or do we call in the etheric animals?
So we do both. We use our pets as access points, and whether they're here with us physically or they've transitioned, they can come along for the journey. And then you can also use animals as wild as an access point. So, ways that we can tap into our animal companions, whether they're here or not, is even through just, some of us are visual, so thinking or looking at pictures and kind of looking into their eyes. Some of us are more clairaudient, so thinking back to like a bark, a purr, or like even the jingle of a collar. Some of us have more of this, we can tap into the energy of our animal companion and sense that, they carry Lyran energy, or they carry an Arcturian energy, or they carry Pleiadian energy. We can use that as an access point for us. What I love about this is that these journeys are designed to do repeatedly. So, if we think of going on a trip or a journey into 3D reality, the first time we go somewhere, we might need to see the sights, right? And then the next time we go to that same place, we're finding out, the local jewels and things that maybe were a bit more hidden, the hidden gems. So we can pick different animals to come with us at different times on these journeys. And what I've found, a lot of people said, their animal companions are right up against them, or they're on their laps, or just kind of sitting with them. And a lot of times that's our animals' service to kind of keep us grounded in our bodies as we're going on these journeys, which is kind of cool.
It is very cool. It is very cool. I'd like to share actually a little journey. You and I were talking before the show, and it just makes so much sense of what's going on here and the assistance that we're receiving from our animals. If any one of us look back at a time when we were sad or having a moment, our pets were right there. And recently I was sitting in meditation, tracing back a trigger into past lives, and the information, the amount of clutter that was being cleared, let's say, from a belief system. I was asking my higher self to show me a belief system, or why I had a belief system. My cat was right there with me. In fact, she was like on my body. And after I got through of that belief system, again, it was hard to keep track of so much being unraveled in that moment, but I was opened to deeper inspiration and insight. That's what you're saying. That's what these realms hold. They hold deeper insight for us. And then I had a connection where my cat just instantly had to come up and be on my chest, like on my shoulder. And that was just really remarkable for me. And it just brings to mind that it's the energy that the animal is helping us anchor. So even if people do not have animals, there are animals that journey with us, or maybe we'll see, an eagle outside our window or something like that. But I love that we go to these different realms. What this is offering is a real awareness of that realm, right? A real energetic awareness of the codes in that realm. Anything more you want to say about that? Because that's where it goes deeper. And it's very healing on a soul level.
Absolutely. And what it does is it's going to give us instant access to the wisdom within those realms, and we're able to kind of jump back anytime we want to be like, oh yeah, what was that? All right, I'm feeling like I need some of that diamond light. We can use the portal code and the thought of our animal companion or the animal companion that kind of went along with us for the ride. Boom, we're instantly there, almost like a genie just closing our eyes and nodding our head. We can get there that quickly without having to do the grounding and, go through the whole process. The other thing that I'm always really passionate about is empowering people I work with. So what this also does is it teaches you how to journey alongside your pet really effectively, so that if there's any other realms you want to visit, because these are just 4, there's so many realms. If there's any other realms you want to visit, you know how to do it. You have a process, you have, a few steps that you take, and you know how to maximize them. The biggest difference between journeying and meditating is that with journeying, you have a destination and an intention, so that what you come back with is actionable. Whereas meditations are more kind of open-ended, you're open to whatever, cool, we're clearing out our mind and seeing what wants to come in. Those are both really beautiful practices, and they work really well together, but a journey is going to really help you with any intentions and desires that you have right now.
Wow. Okay. So, so people, each time they go to these realms and then other realms, once they get equipped with it, that intention, it's the higher self will also guide. The animal is there to assist the higher self, but this is where we can really bring forth new earth businesses, new earth ideas, new earth solutions, new earth creations. That's what I love about it. So the intention then, right, just that simple question will reveal an experience.
Absolutely, and that's why it changes every time, right? I might go in with one journey wanting to better understand my pet's behavior. With another, I might want to understand what's going on physically with me or my pet. On another, I might just say, what does it feel like when I step into my spiritual work? Or what do I need to know to get to the next step of my personal growth? So when we ask different questions, we get to retrieve different things. And we might find that we're also drawn to different animals. The reptiles, for example, snakes and lizards, they really help us ground into Mother Earth and tribal wisdom. Whereas insects with those, the beautiful wings of theirs and the gritting on their wings, they really help us access diamond and crystalline light. If we're connecting with our dog friends, they hold a lot of that Pleiadian energy, but also maternal energies of Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. So if we're dealing with emotional things, we might want to, if our intention is to clear out an emotional baggage, we probably want to bring a dog along for the ride. Whereas our cats are amazing at anchoring in Lyran energy, Sophia code, kind of the female ancestry and the mystery around female energy and the esoteric and the divine. They help us get into those higher chakras. Horses are amazing at healing with Arcturian remembrances and creating those loving boundaries that people can't pierce. And dolphins and whales, of course, they help us anchor into star energy, the Sirian energy, the Pleiadian energy, weaving in and out of current of emotions and weaving all that high vibration into our life. So, depending on the journey we go, our intentions, who we want to invite in for the ride, the world's our oyster. We have so many energies and consciousness that come along for the ride to support us and give us these amazing spiritual souvenirs.
Yes, and so as people are working with your course and they are wanting, for example, to connect with their galactic family, their star family, what would they do on the journeys? Would that be the sky realm?
So I always say it's good to go in order. Actually the water realm is the one with Myrrh and Skylantis, and it's really all about connecting with your galactic energy. But I think there's a beautiful wisdom in the order that they gave the journeys, because they really build upon each other so that we can hold in those higher frequencies. If we're not feeling safe in our bodies or anchoring into who we are, we may not have that bandwidth, that energetic bandwidth to anchor in the frequencies of our galactic consciousness and self and star families. So I do recommend to go in the order, start with the first, go into the second, then go into the third, and then final with the fourth. There's really some wisdom and technology almost behind how they provided that.
Yes, okay, very good. So would we repeat the journeys as we work with them again? And are you doing one journey at a time, or can you go through all 4 journeys?
I think a good cadence is once a week. And so with each of these modules, you also can access just the journey as the audio. So what a lot of folks have told me that they do is they download it to their phone. So if they're on a walk, if they're enjoying some downtime, they'll play one of the journeys. So once you've gone through all of them, then you can just, feel like, I'd love to go on this one, or I'd like to go on that one, and you can just play them anytime on your phone.
Yes, okay, very good. Well, I love that there's the 108 mantra repetitions. Can you share a little bit more about that? That's actually, when we use the sound like that, it's anchoring that in our auric field, right, in the body.
That's exactly it. So much like the Buddhists have the prayer beads, and it's 108 representing the 108 little power points within your body, that's the inspiration for 108. And the mantras for each realm, they gave them to me in English, and then they also gave them to me in different languages, whether it's light language or, ones in Portuguese. That way we can say the mantra without holding any of the preconceptions that we attach to the words. Because, a lot of times, especially if we understand the word, our mind starts holding on to, the word body, for example. If I'm doing a mantra and it says, I'm safe in my body, all of a sudden my ego takes me to, yeah, you're safe in your body. You put on 10 pounds. What do you think? You're not loving your size right now, are you? We can get caught in those stories. But if we're using the light language version of it, ashkabaratatatatai, then all of a sudden we have no connection to that mantra. We're just anchoring in the pure energy of it. So in the mantras, you get both options. You get to say it either in English, or you can join us in a language that the energy and vibration of the words carry, but your mind doesn't have any associations with.
Wow. All right. Yeah, that's great. Excellent. All right. Light language there from the Pleiadians on those mantras. So then you also, I want to talk about option 2, because this is where you include a 30-minute intuitive reading. We're going to go to some mini readings with our callers. If you're on the phone, star 2 will allow you to raise your hand so we can take some of those calls, and Denise will give a mini reading on what realm your pets would like you to journey to. Can you talk first, though, Denise, about what happens in the intuitive reading?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of different pet intuitives and animal communicators out there, and everybody gets different information. Some people get, I prefer this ball or that treat. Others are medical intuitives and can tell you exactly, where there's an energetic blockage or physical discomfort in the animal companion. For me, the animals have always brought through what's going on in their humans' lives. Because for them, it's really important for us to look at that energetic clutter and clear it out. Because when we vibe higher, so can they. So if left to their own devices, they bring in what's going on in their humans' lives, old patterns, old energy that's ready to be released. And that tends to be really helpful, especially as we're working with our animal companions with any behavioral issues that we're trying to shift. So that's something that I love to do. I also love looking at the numerology of the human's name and the pet's name to understand the intersection of what lessons you're here to share, what your motivations and tendencies tend to be. And it's one of those things where, I talked about how numbers are such a basic thing that we learn as young children, but there's so much power to them, so much symbolism behind each, that looking at the numerology between the humans and the pets' names really helps glean a lot of insight as well about the lessons you're here to share and what you're here to do together. So if folks want to ask questions, it would be really helpful to know the pet's name, what kind of animal companion it is, and if they want to give a little context about what might be going on with them, or if they just want to know what realm they're being driven to explore at this time, either of those would be great.
Great. All right. So we will go to our callers. Again, you can get to the phone or the web call on our show page here. You can connect by web call or the phone. If you're on the web player, that will allow you to interact with us. We'll go for some of those calls. Denise's special offer is available for you guys to all check out and get that training with her, the training for those journeys. It's all on immediate download once you purchase. Just click on the link there. You can add it to the cart. Offer 2 is everything that you get with plus the 30-minute intuitive reading. This is really to assist you on that deep, deep soul level. We're going to go now to some callers. I love this. Let's go to Colette up in Saybrook, Connecticut. Hello, Colette.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Colette.
Thank you for taking my call. I was just calling Isabel, so we might be on the call now.
Yes.
I have a kitty cat. I have a cat, Isabella. She's finding other interesting things to be into right now. Also, her sister Amber had crossed end of July. So, yeah, and we both miss her. So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out why the background is going on here, but I don't know what the background means. Okay, there it is. I think I fixed it. Okay, so anyways, yeah, I would love for you to, I forget how you phrased it, but,
share your pet's name and, the type of, yeah.
2 cats. I have two kitty sisters. And, but one, like I said, Amber crossed and Isabella's still with it. And, she's not used to being alone. She always had been around a lot of kitties and she's the only one now.
So I'm going to jump right in because they're talking. They're talking up a storm. So first of all, I'm so sorry to hear that Amber has transitioned. Even as spiritually awake and mindful that we are, when they're no longer in their little bodies, we miss them. But Amber's saying that and Isabella in particular misses her physicality, but they're constantly in touch, and that. So it's almost like on some level for you've been consoling Isabella, which is interesting. When I look at the numbers, you and Isabella, oh my goodness, within your names, you carry the vibration of all master numbers. You carry the 22/4, so you have that big heart, new foundations in love, and we are in a 22 year. So for you, this is a very powerful year, even if it might have felt comfortable, maybe it felt uncomfortable, but this is a transformational year for you where you set new foundations. And then within Isabella's name, she carries the 11 and the 33 kind of flanking your 22 master numbers. And what I love about that is that 11 energy for me is the bridge energy. So she is a tremendous journeying partner with you. And she also carries the 33/6 master number, which is the galactic cosmic parent. So she's holding these wonderful vibrations for you just on the other side. And as you guys journey together, you're going to be connecting deeper and deeper. Amber is incredibly sensitive. She will be there as a beacon, welcoming you in, almost as a welcoming committee. But she was too sensitive to be part of what's going on in this new earth and this new world. So she chose to exit for that reason. But she's going to be along with you guys for that ride. Let me check in because there's something really interesting coming in. Let me just listen very quickly. So the realm that they're showing for you to visit, and this is fascinating, is the realm of the samurai. So they're showing this beautiful kind of foggy, it looks like a Japanese scene with a weeping willow. And there's the geisha energy, kind of the delicate woman in a beautiful kimono, and then the samurai energy. So it's really an invitation for you to journey to the samurai realm, to learn about the aspects of the masculine and feminine balance, about being the protector and the receiver, being soft rose, but also the hard sword. So it's really calling you into that balance, which is quite beautiful. And it seems like there's some wisdom there. I can hear, the music in the background, and a little bit of the chilliness and the dampness in the air. But for you, it feels comfortable. It feels like something that it's a homecoming for you in that way. So they're inviting you back there, which is pretty cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, if you are a movie buff, I know a lot of spiritual people don't watch TV, or, people in our community, but I love TV. I love movies. The Last Samurai, and the more for the imagery rather than the story of the outsider. Right. It's more about the imagery for you to really see those deep grays and blues and that fog that taps something in for you. That's really important right now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm aware that my numbers correspond with. Yes, thank you. I can't even. That's awesome. Wow, what's a session like with you? You just did that in a few minutes.
We go deep. The animals bring in a lot, I will say. But thank you for sharing their energy with us. I mean, beautiful companions that you have.
Yeah.
Beautiful
I've had
reflection
cats
of you.
my whole life. Yeah, and I'm very connected to cats. In fact, animal communication ought to be one of my, is one of my gifts, I should say. I ought to be putting it up there. Thank you. Yes, it is. Especially cats. I've had them my whole life, and I'm a Leo, and I just connect with kitties,
Wow, that's amazing. I love those synchronicities. That's lovely.
Yeah. Yes. Amber, they're only a few years old, I got them from my brother. You're right. She was pretty sensitive. Yes, as I am, but, and it was quick. I mean, she went out and she didn't come back,
Yeah. And that happens. Happens. But she says you knew. There was a knowing, so you're at peace with it. Isabella needs a little bit of comforting every now and then, but you know,
oh my
you
God.
understand.
Yes, that's all I've been doing with her. Yes, she's and my neighbor's cat, he had to put him down, and she suddenly has no kitties to hang with, and so like that bugs me all the time to go out and play with her and stuff, and I do as much as I can. But yes,
well, a good idea. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Would it be a good idea for me to get another kitty, or I wasn't planning on it, but for her?
Not yet.
Okay.
Really what you want to do is, go on the journey to the samurai realm. Tap into other realms where you want to connect. I mean, it feels also, anything having to do with cats or Leo or, go into those realms, and there's so much for you to bring in. And going on these journeys with Isabella is also going to distract her. It's like, how when you take someone to go get ice cream, like a kid to get ice cream when they're sad, it kind of gets their mind off things for a bit. That's part of the experience. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren.
Colette. All right. Again, the journeys are in the online course from Denise, and that is in her special offer today. Again, there's also personal sessions, and we're witnessing Denise in action. Today, right now, we're going to go to, it looks like Betty in St. Charles, Missouri. Hi, is this Betty?
Yes, it is. Can you hear me?
Yes, hello, Betty.
Hi.
Hi, Betty.
Hi, how are you today?
So happy. Who's your animal companion? Do you have any with you today?
Well, I just rescued a little female cat about a month ago that had been living on the creek. I live on a creek, and I think she was abandoned. She looks like she's maybe under 2 years. And I didn't know she was out there. She was out there 5 or 6 months, and I didn't know it until a couple of months ago. And one of the neighbors had been feeding her. And I went out and I started talking to her, and I named her Galey, and she would meow and talk back, and she would sit and stare in the back door. The guy had never had a cat, and he thought she was a feral. But I tapped into her energy, and I knew she wasn't. So I just said a little prayer and told the angels, if you want me to help her, you're going to have to bring her on my property. Within 3 days, she was laying under the bushes in the front of my house. And I opened the door, and she came in, and she toured the entire house. She ate, and she stayed in about an hour, and then she went back out and laid under the bushes. The second day, she came back and decided she wasn't leaving. And she was so happy and excited. She was sick. She had a serious sinus infection and was slinging green snot. And I don't know if she has feline herpes or what, but she, her eye indicates that she may have, because she's kind of blind in her left eye. And for like 2 weeks, she was just happy and a leg hugger and wanted me to scratch her little head, and she would give me little kisses. And I had made a vet appointment for her. And so like, it was on a Monday, and on Saturday night, I told her, I said, I'm going to pick you up. And when I tried to pick her up, she freaked out and became really scared of me. And so on Monday, there was no catching her, no getting her in the crate to get her to the vet. So it's kind of like, now she's just afraid of me. So I don't know what to think about this little cat, nor what to do for her.
Can I ask you, Galey, is that C-A-L-I? Is that how you spell it?
Yes.
Okay. So really, really, really fascinating. Let me see where they want me to start. First of all, I just love how when we work with group energy, there's amplification and similarities. You too, your name carries that 22/4 master vibration of this kind of new foundations, big heart, creating community. And that's part of what you do. You have this amazing ability to create you just know how to make things work. And that's been for your benefit, but also for your detriment throughout life. One thing that Galey is showing is that she is amazing because she has this sinus infection, this eye issue. It's all around that, the sixth chakra, the third eye. So sometimes those that are the strongest seers don't have sight. So what she's asking you to do is find your vision and stick with it. Because she's saying that there's a vision that you've been flirting with, but you haven't been wanting to land on it or acknowledge it. It's almost like a gnat that you've been kind of knocking off, like, get out of here, gnat. Because there's a nervousness around the implications for others around you. The realm that they want you to visit is the realm of the oracle and the seer. So, much like in Greek mythology, there's the cave and there's the oracle, and a lot of times she was blind, but she could see things. She could see war. She could see who would win. She could see strategy. She could see how to win. You have a lot of that energy within you. But it's interesting because they show it not as the crone, like you would think in that Greek mythology. It's in bright colors, almost more in a grassy field. So your version of the oracle and the seer is almost more in this kind of open field, open light in the day of light rather than in a dark cave, which is really significant because they're inviting you to step into the vibrance of your vision, the vibrance of your knowing and of your sight, and not being afraid of what you bring up how that's going to affect the world around you. There's a little bit of this reticence in stepping out fully and communicating all you know and sharing all that you are because of that nervousness of what if, as other oracles have, made predictions or given advice, it goes south. So that's the energy that Callie's bringing forth. And her fear of you is reflecting back your fear of your gifts and your power. So for you going to the realm of the seer, however that manifests for you is going to be really powerful. And if you do choose to do the course, the fire realm is going to be powerful for you, trusting your creative spark in colorful joy and exuberance rather than being nervous of it.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I've had a health condition for like 8 years. And it's really kind of kept me incapacitated and homebound. And right before I brought Callie into the house, I was doing some deep energy work with it and really trying to take myself up higher, like in the fourth dimension and rise above what it is. And it's like when she came into the house, it's kind of like I dropped back down. And so now I'm having health complications again.
So part of it is the rising above and going to the fourth dimension is up and out. What Callie's inviting you to do, she interrupted it because she's like, you're going to go up and out and then you're going to have energy issues, fatigue issues. You need to go down and into the heart, into you. So it's about dealing with the health issue by going into those inner realms, just as Loren says in the beginning of the show, journeying back to the inner realms, the inner knowing, the inner strength, the inner phoenix that's not afraid of transformation. So try going in for that healing rather than up and out. Know that the dimensions are all located within you. They're not necessarily above us. We tend to think, especially with ascension language, when we say ascension, up level, all those things tend to indicate that higher stature and going physically up. But really, we stay the same. We're just able, kind of like the scenery behind us changes, right? The frequency of it changes so that we can see new things, lighter vibrations, and we can kind of be part of that fabric. So they're just inviting you, and it sounds like a wonderful attention for you as you go and you journey to the realm of the seer. Show me what healing looks like. I need to see what a healing experience looks like and see what comes through with that.
Okay. Now, is there something that I can do for Callie, or is it just that she is supposed to be in this fear state until I make a change?
So breathing and letting go of the outcome, because the same thing that she was saying that you are so good at, like having a vision, executing it, making things happen, sometimes it makes us feel like we need to be in control of everything. So part of it is letting go of the attachment. And so letting go of the attachment to that and just kind of breathing, calming, bringing your energy back in, she'll slowly trust it. And she'll be like, okay, I got it. And of course, I'm a huge advocate for energetic work, but I also like to do traditional training. I think that's an important component. If you have treats for her, things that she enjoys doing, all in her time and in her space. Leverage those things to help her create a positive association and find that trust back. Also keep in mind, tomorrow, I believe, is a full moon, and a lot of animals get a bit skittish around full moon energy. Not all, but some are particularly sensitive to it. So just, be mindful of, as you guys get to know each other on a deeper level, does she go with the phases of the moon? Does she react differently? Just be observant around your relationship together and see if her behavior changes.
Okay, I can do that. One of my concerns is I feel like she really needs to see a vet because I think maybe they could do surgery on her eye and get her to see again. I actually was working with them. They gave me the antibiotics for her, so she just completed her 10 days of antibiotics. So the sinus infection is gone, but I think the eye is causing her a lot of problems, because that's what happened when I went to pick her up. I picked her up from the left, and that's the eye that she can't see out of.
Yeah.
And so now anything to the left of her just puts her in a state of fear.
And so that's so interesting. Look how observant you are. That's amazing that you realize that, you're aware of that, so now you know. And, you know, I don't work as much with cats as I do with dogs from a training perspective, but when we work with blind dogs, I always say use a word. Upsies, coming in from your left, you know, like giving them a little bit of that heads up is helpful. And then I'm also a huge fan of working with your vet. You know, use all the tools at your disposal. Work with your vet, work in the energy, work in traditional training. So go to the seer's realm, see what they have to say about sight, about healing for you, for Callie, and see what comes through. You know, as a pet parent, you have great mommy instincts, so you'll know how to kind of go with that. Like I said, I'm not very much of a medical intuitive, so I can't really tap in and tell you exactly what's going on there. But energetically, those were the themes that she was bringing up, all those that we just discussed.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I will work on that, and hopefully it'll help her too.
Yeah, so wonderful. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and all of the information you shared.
Thank you, Betty.
Well, I love it when pet parents open their hearts and homes. It's always so nice.
Yeah. Well, winter's coming, and it's like, and I just knew that she was going to die out there if I didn't get her inside, because it gets really cold here. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you,
I'll be here so somebody else can have your wisdom. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Betty. Very good. All right. Now we're going to go to, it's so fun watching you work, Denise. Really is amazing. This is where it's so helpful. You play such a beautiful role. We're going to go to Randy, our buddy Randy. Hi, Randy.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. I'm going to speak quick just out of respect. To have a chance. I vote in case that's available. Calling about my beloved departed friend Zeus, the white husky. Am I living up to his expectation?
Oh, and so you said Zeus is your departed husky, you said?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me check
13
in.
good years. Nothing to be sad about. 13
He's a beautiful puppy.
Years.
Beautiful blue eyes. Cosmic blue eyes.
So it's really beautiful because, again, Randy, you have that energy of the 11 energy, which is a master teacher, but also a bridge energy. For you, what he's showing, Zeus was really here to help you with a lot more of kind of putting rubber to the road, of standing in your leadership, making things happen, kind of the magic of transformation, of experiencing different things in life. Zeus's energy is very much that of that beautiful leader, the doer, the kind of creates magic in life. You have a ton of this old soul compassionate energy in you, where you have the ability to do a lot of healing with people. You come from a place of empathy, tremendous empathy and heart-centered knowing. And so, Randy, do you do any work where you advise other grieving pet parents, or you do channeling for animals that have passed over? There's something about you in an advisory role that Zeus wants to encourage you to step into more fully if you haven't yet.
I haven't delved into the pet aspect of it, but every time I speak to anything, it's to help others realize more about themselves, like CV17, and just, it's a way to feel your heart. Sensory rights, how the heart communicates to the mind. I say this over and over every day. I'm doing it, but not limited to pet owners.
Right.
Yes.
Right. There seems to be a little something that he wants you to do because, okay, got it. Part of it is pet grief counseling a little bit. It's sort of like when we lose a human member of our family, everybody's, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But sometimes as pet parents, if we don't have a lot of humans in our lives and our pets are kind of our most intimate relationship, if we lose them, not everybody understands, the relationship. So there's something there, whether it's, people that you currently are in touch with or you work with, if they happen to lose a pet, just know that your words of wisdom are incredibly healing, especially having gone through this with Zeus. Zeus is showing himself on the other side, working, welcoming a lot of animals through the Rainbow Bridge, is the way he puts it. So there is going to be, as we go into these energetic portals and we're moving through the energy of 2020, there are a lot of animal companions that are presenting some exit strategies, and he'll be there working with them. Typically, I see these kind of big exits of pets happen around like April 4th or Lionsgate around 8/8. Huge amount of animals transitioning. Zeus is indicating that there's a wave coming probably near the 11/11 portal, and he'll be there working with them. So he's asking that if humans come to you, and it seems like you'll just be sitting there and conversation strikes, and then they're like, yeah, I just lost my pet. Know that your words of healing are needed, and that Zeus will be on the other side working with the animal and the human via the animal that's transitioned. There's something really beautiful going on there. So in that way, it's really quite lovely, because where Zeus is inviting you to visit as far as realms is, okay, Zeus, tell me more here. So he's showing me, and I don't know what the name of the realm is, but it's where the two worlds meet. It's like if you saw that movie, The Truman Show, where like he gets to the end and he sees and he opens it up and he sees beyond like the set. That's the space he's inviting you to, where this reality meets the other side of the veil. And he's showing like it becomes this opalescent kind of plasma wall, and you guys can connect and talk and collaborate on what's next. There's this huge kind of two colleagues meeting together, two great friends meeting together and like catching up over coffee type vibe. So that's the realm that he's inviting you to be in, more so that you guys can hang out and catch up, which is quite beautiful.
That's a really beautiful and valuable insight. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for your loss. I know that, again, this community is so amazing about being conscious about it when our pets transition, and being grateful for the time that, we've had together, knowing that the connection continues. But, my heart goes out to you, and we're all holding you in our hearts, you and Zeus.
What I have to share about that is, all the different release techniques like Sedona and pranic healing and Reiki, all these emotional release techniques. Well, grief's not something you let go of or try to get rid of or try to manage. Grief is something we learn to honor. It's part of us. And without our grief, how could we ever understand as much about love?
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
About others. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you, Randy.
Such wisdom.
Yes. Randy, you are very sacred. You are a saint. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for the door.
Good talking to you, Randy. I feel Zeus right there next to you. Thank you. Have a good one. Wow. Denise, you are so amazing, and this is so healing on many levels, just to feel that. So thank you for this. Again, I want to point our listeners to work with Denise. She is a beautiful guide that will connect you more to that wisdom within yourself as your pets literally become the portals and assist you. And if you'd like a personal session, a reading with Denise, it is available as well. Very precious, as Denise dedicates her life to this and this information and connecting everyone as her own rainbow bridge to this information. Denise, I just thank you so much for the beautiful time today and all of this. Is there anything that you'd like to say as we wrap up our sacred circle today?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for creating this space and this opportunity to connect in these meaningful ways and to, honor the animals and bring them into these wonderful quantum conversations and discussions. And thank you to the callers for sharing their animal companions, their stories, and their hearts with us. It's so beautiful to see the unique relationship that each has and the insights that they're tapping into. Interestingly, speaking of rainbows, there is a group here, a galactic group, that's been holding the space called the Rainbow Tribe. And so it's this cosmic group, and they're kind of sitting in a horseshoe shape in front of me, and they're just holding in the energy and the vibration of the colors. And they tend to come up when there's a lot of emotional up-leveling and healing and processing that's going on. They hold in the energy and the wisdom from the stars and the love that we experience with our galactic star families. They want you to know that they've been present throughout all this, even though we haven't really tapped in necessarily in the readings to the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the Venusians. The galactic rainbow tribe or council, they've been around us kind of holding the space. So each of us who feel that call can always connect to them through the colors of the rainbow. So just think of those colors and kind of hold those into your heart, and their healing, their wisdom, their company will be right next to you and your animal companion. Our animal companions are very familiar with this group. So yeah, that's what they wanted to share as we wrap up.
Wow. Okay, so when our cats look at us in the eyes, what do you recommend that we do? We go inward or ask for an answer or feel our star families?
I would more likely than not look right back in, hold that image and bring it into your heart and just allow it to fill you with love and hold on to it. Take a mental snapshot of that, because that serves as a tremendous access point to fuel and propel you on these journeys, and allow that energy to fuel you and take you wherever it need be, whether it is connecting back with our star families, the mer people, snake and tribal culture. Allow them to tell us where we need to go. They know us better than we know ourselves for the most part. So hold no attachment, allow it to just flow. Play with it is what they're saying. They're saying we take this ascension thing way too seriously. Play with it. See where they want to take you.
Yes,
it's their version of jingling the car keys. We'll be the passenger in this scenario.
All right, so look into your cat's eyes, or notice when he or she looks into your eyes, and the same with your dogs or any animals that you see. Beautiful. Just breathe that in and take it into your heart and allow it to go. How beautiful. And I love the ascension thing. We have to lighten up to ascend. Nobody wants to lighten up, so let's just lighten up.
Yeah, they help us become more playful for sure.
Oh, beautiful. Denise Mange, thank you so much for this quantum conversation. It truly does connect us more deeply to our higher self. You're a beautiful guide assisting so many, and you are available to assist our audience, and we thank you for that special offer, and we thank you for this beautiful time today. So sacred. We honor you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Big hugs.
Big hugs. Awesome. Okay, everyone. I hope that you are feeling the love there. We thank you for shining your bright light. Again, if you would like to work closely with Denise and experience a reading so that you can go more deeply within with your pets as portals, that is all available for you. So now it is time to dance our way to the cosmic heart. And as we know, to lighten up, let's just have some fun. If you don't appreciate this type of music, you can turn it off, but let's just play and have a little fun. dancing to the cosmic heart. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Galey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.